I need help, boss.
We're the NSAA. We're never serious about anything except grip ball.
3D printed shell.
I have drifted an aircraft carrier.
What?
To an extent, but you'll be out there alone as fuck. There's no.
Just bumping into people by osmosis of dopeness, you know?
3, 2, 1. We're going.
Welcome. It's the Happy Hoodlums podcast. That was perfect unison, Zach. We have DJ Blue on. This is my brother.
Hello.
Yep.
Yes.
And tonight's going to be a party. If you can't tell, the stage is set. Just look behind him. He is incredible. He has been a DJ for a long, long time.
I do things.
Yeah,
There
an
we
avid
go.
gamer. And he's deep in the gaming community. You know, anyone that's into like competitive Halo stuff has probably come across DJ at some point in their little soiree into the online community.
Also true.
And he's also just one of the most incredible people in terms of talent and personality that I've ever met.
Thanks,
So
man.
without further ado, welcome. And let's start with the origins of where we met. So you can tell them about me.
So, wait,
What a
how
narcissistic
deep do you
intro,
want me to
too.
go into this? How deep do you want me to go into this story?
Oh, I don't care, man. Just give them what you got.
All right. So, first of all, hi, I'm DJ. And when Kemper and I first met, we met in college. I was both of our freshman year in college. And granted, this was not super long ago. This is what, 2015, 14? The fall of 14? No.
Fall of 15, I think.
Fall of 15, right? It was right in that area. And I had started shoutcasting for Halo and for Griffball and got to meet one of my, I would say, one of the icons that I look up to. And Andy had said, listen, you want to look in, like, where did you go to college for? What should I be looking to go into? Because this is what I want to do. And he said, check out communications, journalism, broadcasting. All right, cool. Well, the only place aside from Portland State, and Portland State's program was kind of iffy at the time, was Mountain Community College. And I'd gotten a chance to meet JD Kickens, who was our teacher, our instructor.
He's like a wizard, basically. Like,
dope, dude.
Oh, God, yeah, he's
Dope guy.
incredible. Yeah, JD was amazing. It was wonderful. And of course, when I started teaching college, I worked for him. But to back it back up, so we met. Who I had nicknamed, I'm real honest, I was a judgy little bitch at the moment, but it didn't matter. You're right, I'm allowed to swear, right?
Yeah.
So we get in there into broadcasting, and at the time I was still very small in what I was doing. But Little Booyah, that's what we called him. So Justine and our little clique, he was so, I'm not going to say aggressive. I would say it was because there's nothing really aggressive about him. He was, but very expressive and extraordinary in his ability to share every thought going through his head at most of the times of the day.
yeah, I was militantly communicative.
That is an exceptionally awesome way of stating that. And I, at the time, I wasn't aware of what it was going on. And when he and I got paired up for a project, he came to my house, and my first thought was, great, there is literally nothing I'm going to have in common with this guy, and it is going to be the most awkward fucking project ever. Only to discover that our brains worked so well together. And once we got to talking, there may have or may not have been pot involved. Once we got to talking and going through the process, the creative process, started looking at this, because we got this beautiful video. I remember it exactly. I still to this day remember this musician. It was about Chipotle, but it was this beautiful music video that was done for Chipotle that was all about a mobile game that you could play to earn free food, right?
Yeah, and it was like Fiona Apple did it, right?
Yeah, Fiona Apple sang this song. She's saying it was an imagination, and if you want to look it up online, you can check it out. It's on YouTube. It is the Chipotle Scarecrow. Just look up the Scarecrow video. It is one of the most unique takes on the food industry. And I thought it was really interesting how well we were able to balance things out and look at it in the discussion that we started having. We went for hours,
Yeah, dude.
hours, just
I went over
talking
there.
into the night. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And that was when we realized, yeah, we will always be friends forever.
yeah. This is like my
Forever.
brother.
That's just the way it's going to be. And it may be, a couple months between the times we talk, and then we won't stop talking on, various different apps for days in a row. But it's like time is never lost.
Also,
That's how we met.
side note, to confirm like where I was at in my life, right? So rest in peace to my best friend. My best friend Paul had just passed away.
Yep.
And so I'm really on the path to like doing some bad shit, and I'm going to school, but I'm also trying to investigate what happened to my best friend. Everything about me, like I'm still an outspoken person, but like I'm always gonna be ghetto as shit. Like a part of me, like I'm classy, but I'm also like strangely hood as fuck. You know what I mean? Like
Uniquely spirited. We could say, again, uniquely spirited.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I mean, it was just one of those things where I was so not trying to hear or have any bullshit. I wasn't down for any construct of like, this is the progression of how you get sponsored. I was like, fuck that. I need to make it now. So I'm here to learn my skills. And I just so happened to cross paths with so many amazing, like we had the most ragtag, like fucking Bad News Bears class of broadcasting that you can even imagine.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. And some of us, like, there's and a half hour, like, well, no, technically it's only 3. 2, technically now. It's just John.
there's like 10 people in the class.
Yeah, and 2 of them are still on the radio to this day. They are on sports radio. So.
Well, let's give them a brief synopsis of this classroom, right? So, I think Trevor was his name. He was like really quiet, and he was into death metal.
Yeah, death metal. He's ex-Navy like me, and yeah, and so we had that little connection. But he was also a gamer.
Yeah,
but so quiet, so reserved.
Yeah,
until you got him talking when he didn't think anybody was listening, and then he became the funniest guy in the room because it was those little single comments. Then it was like, what did he just say?
Talk? You know what I mean?
What did you just say? That's fucking hilarious. And of course, everybody freaked out. It was hilarious.
So Justine is a badass little rocker chick.
My work wife.
Yep. We had I can't remember his name right now, but he was way too smart to be there. NPR guy, Will.
Oh, Will. No, Will is currently on sports radio with John.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, Will and John have had a show. Well, no, they have shows on 2 different radio stations, but yeah, no, Will and John are both on the radio regularly.
We had Q for a little while, who rarely showed up. He was the basketball coach, straight OG, and then and super articulate. Like if you could imagine sitting down with like RZA from Wu-Tang. Like, I feel like Q was like the Alaska version of RZA or something.
But the eloquence of the conversation was so exquisite and so insightful.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
From a guy who only shows up to class in sweats.
Yeah, he was always and he was the basketball coach. But I'm telling you, he already had
good basketball coach too.
Shit, so he was in and out of the class. Doug, rest in peace to Doug. Doug passed away when he was in class. Doug used to cheat off my homework, but he put me on game with a lot of cool old school music. Like he put me on to like Toots and the Maytals and shit. Like
Doug was special.
He found out I was working in the dispensary, and he would always ask me to hook a brother up. You know what I mean? Fucking, I was selling weed at the time, and then God, we just had a wild ass classroom.
Yep. There was Jenny. Let's not talk about Jenny.
I don't remember Jenny.
Nobody does. That's the thing.
Jenny was quiet. She was like, I think she was Filipino or something, right?
Nope. She was
She was
No,
like
she-
Asian or something.
No, she was Mexican. She was
She was
from like her
Mexican?
family, but she didn't speak Spanish.
I don't know
She-
what that means.
She didn't speak Spanish, but she had a Spanish accent, and we just as a class ignorantly assumed, well, you have an accent, you probably this may not be your first language. Nope, that's just how she spoke.
Oh yeah, she just couldn't speak English that great. But she was a fucking sweetheart. And then we had
Yeah.
Steve.
Oh my
We had
God,
Steve
I
that he was there to make a
about-
religious radio show. So, dude, you don't know the clusterfuck that we had going on in class.
God,
But if you
there's not enough liquor in the day for that story.
Yeah, bro. Look when we had to do our finals, he had a meltdown, a straight meltdown.
There is. It's one thing to be on the blue or red side.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't do politics, but
Neither
you
do
can
I.
either be Democrat or Republican, whatever. There's another thing when you want to be on the I'm either progressive or conservative side. Then there's
The extreme.
like whatever the Steve was doing. And we should probably bleep out his last name. I'm just saying.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I will give him credit for this. The man was committed to his shit and never once gave up, despite being completely unable to run anything technologically
Oh
Yeah.
man.
at all.
Oh, side note. Okay, the names may
Wow,
be.
how did you forget? How did you remember Steve?
Maybe,
Jesus,
maybe to protect the innocent.
have
Look,
a panic attack.
but
You're
this
thinking about the dealings with that guy. Oh
Well,
my
dude,
God.
we had my homie Jeremy who was literally
we had Jeremy was
100%
fun.
blind, running everything on hotkeys, and he's never done anything technical either.
No,
You know,
and
he was like a tattoo artist when he was like before he went to prison or some shit.
and it was I thought it was a beautiful element when you'd see Steve get frustrated and Jeremy would come in with the cane, sit down, feel it out, move things where they need to be, and then he's just clicking, popping, moving faders and listening to everything, and he's literally staring at the wall, listening to things, and he's asking me where's the track at. And you got somebody else, and like one of us was always on the mouse with him, like we got this, and he's just doing it,
Dude,
wild.
I'm telling
Awesome.
you,
And of course, every time it happened, the rest of us would turn around and look.
it was like a shit
And-
show, but it was
and
phenomenal.
look at Steve and be like, bitch.
What the fuck are you doing?
Hello, motherfucker.
There we go. Exactly. That's what I'm like. So, we had a unique class. It was a very unique year, and it was a launching point. It was a launching pad, and that was kind of when Kemper and I realized, yeah, we are not necessarily related, but we're totally related.
Yeah, like that. And
So yeah,
yeah. So Blue wound up just running. As soon as he got out of school, he hit the ground like running, son, because he'd already had established way more than I even knew. Like when I went over to his house, I was like, bro, your house is like a fucking museum of fun shit. You know, like there's so much awesome thing. You walk into his house and he's just got a full DJ booth, just like set up in the living room. And back then, I'd never seen Game of Thrones. Like I'm telling you, bro, like I wasn't watching movies, bro.
Wait,
I would
you
get
still
home-
haven't seen it?
No, I have, but like
Okay,
at
okay.
that time, bro, I hadn't. You know, and that was the shit that was probably popping off, as well as there was like a bunch of different shows, but I didn't have any of that. Like this was me, my Lincoln, and I would come home to a fucking raging party, try to like put people to sleep, basically.
because your brother is still partying.
Do homework. Actually, no, he's way better.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but no, my house was just crazy, and I was trying to get like good grades in school. I actually got straight A's in like all my classes and shit, pretty much.
No, he nailed everything. It was ridiculous.
but I was talking shit the whole time, so I had to leave. And then I go back to film, and that's where me and Zach's like paths crossed, and it was written. Yeah. So, but tell us what you got going on now, so we can get a little more up to current date where you're at.
All right. So, I'm a full-time content creator and streamer. I went from being the executive producer and director of marketing for Griffball Hub, which was an esports league within Halo and Halo, specifically in Halo 4. I ended up going and working for Microsoft and dealing with everything from Xbox to Mixer. Went from Twitch over to Mixer, spent 3 years as a partner there, and became the Astro Logitech DJ there, and the shoutcaster I've shoutcasted everything from Halo to Apex Legends to Fortnite down at RTX in Texas, to DreamHack, to PAX East, West, and South, E3.
Say that.
So I've kind of had a full circle of different things that I've done. I was the event programming manager for Halo Outpost Discovery, the tour in 2019, where we kind of took 5 different cities and created a Firebase experience where you get to come in and actually immerse yourself inside of the Halo universe, and it was wonderful. And I ran the entire programming section. Oh yeah,
Explain that. What is that? What do you mean, like live action role playing Halo?
Well, no, like it was a whole live festival gaming event in 5 different cities. I actually helped design it. So they kind of hit me up and said, "Look, here's a thing that we want you to do." And I said, "Sure. I've never done it before." They said, "It's fine. It's fine. Neither have we. We're going to screw up a lot, but it's okay. We're just going to keep rolling with it." And I think it was probably one of the most uniquely elevating educational experiences I've ever had, because it was working on the fly in real time, but making something that that's an executable. And once you've designed it, it was interesting watching what we thought would be good on paper. Once we got into the actual applicable execution of it, didn't necessarily always turn out. And so as we hit the summer, we thought we're ready to go. Orlando's going to be great. And we hit Orlando, and we came out of Orlando going, I was like, I have to change half of this shit.
Well, that's because
they were like,
Orlando.
And of course, everyone's like, hold on, calm down. and I had to play I have this game that I play in my head whenever I'm designing something. It's called If This, Then That. And in my head, I'm running multitudes of different options. If this happens, then what are the possible outcomes? Of these outcomes, what are the possible drawbacks? What are the benefits? How is this going to positively interact with other experiences? How is this going to negatively interact with other experiences? If I couldn't find a solution to each of these elements, then I had to kill that entire branch and integrate it elsewhere in a different branch in a more functional and cohesive way. And of course, we had to go through an approvals process with the rest of the planning team at 343 and over at Hershend. And of course, in the process of all this, I was a Globetrotter. So, oh yeah, that's the other thing. To hide my job, because we hadn't announced it to the public yet. So we're in this design phase. I ended up going I was officially working for the live events team at Hershend Family Entertainment, who owns the Globetrotters and Dollywood and all that shit. So because we couldn't announce to the public, we weren't allowed to tell anybody what was happening. So they were like, "You're being technically hired by the Globetrotters." I had a Globetrotters email address. That was my job, was at the Harlem Globetrotters. And everybody's like, "You non-basketball playing motherfucker, you are not working for the goddamn Globetrotters." I was like,
fucking bum.
Actually, here, the thing is, I really am. And, once we finally got to announce it was happening, it became a whole kind of jokey thing. But in the process of all this, I was going up to Seattle constantly doing work with 343 from Portland. And so we were using my connections at Mixer. So every time I was up there doing something for Outpost at 343, I was jumping over to the Studio D broadcast studios for Mixer and helping and hosting shows with them as a special guest, so that, oh Lord, I didn't turn all my alerts off. There we go.
Boop. Oh, what, Zach? Look at you following you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was like, oh God,
who's this fucking fanboy?
I'm multitasking.
There you go. So, but I forgot to turn my bot off.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I would go and host shows for varying different elements with Xbox and Xbox Live and Mixer and Mix It Up. We would do all sorts of different things to hide why I was up there. So that nobody knew what I was doing at any given time.
But does anyone hear how fucking cool this is? Like, dude, you're like the prince of fucking just like
Microsoft, Halo.
So I would go and we had to travel and do and take a look at other setups and designs, other show designs. What are the things we liked? What are the things we didn't? Really analyze and break down what it is that what I was looking to do. And I really found a love with event management. That's what I started working with DreamHack. I've been working with DreamHack since I'm still a host with DreamHack. I help produce events. DreamHack is the single largest LAN event in the world. They have shows all over the world. We're talking with hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of open seats where it's a BYOC, and then people bring their computer setups.
It's a gaming event. Huge.
It's a massive gaming event. We're talking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in prizes, and you can compete in them.
Yeah.
It's wild. I'm working on a project with them now for DreamHack Dallas. I've chuckcasted the World Speedrunning Championships for Halo Reach at DreamHack Anaheim right before everything got locked down because of COVID. So, so
bro, shit has
what I toured doing.
Far.
Yeah, my mixer community. When my gaming community that I had when I was a Mixer, we were actually based here in the US and based out of Australia. So I was traveling between here and Australia, doing different things. And so now I'm a full-time content creator. I do DJ shows for Astro and Logitech on the weekends. I do house music Fridays, dance music on Saturdays, which ranges everything from EDM to drum and bass, jungle, you name it. Sundays is down tempo lounge, and I do that as a beach house acoustic, ballads and covers, and it's all basic. The Sunday one is just basically an emotional expression of wherever I'm at in the moment. And then I'm a full-time streamer. When I'm not streaming, I'm also one of the co-writers and executive producer for a film that's being made, and I can't really talk anymore about it at the moment because we're not ready to. But our application is for Cannes, BAFTA, and everything else, so that's all a whole different story that we'll do an update once we're ready to finally talk about it.
Motherfucker, you know.
So, so when I'm doing that, I've got a podcast with my friend, the Lost Drake. It's called Pardon the Distraction. Pardon the D. I have another show, a talk show that with my friend Cup of Robots. We talk about a myriad of different things, but I work 7 days a week because I don't really know what else to do with myself aside from maybe laundry and try and clean my room, both of which need to be done this week.
But also, you say that, and it's so interesting, because one of the things that I find, like, in just becoming like an adult, it's like, and people talk a lot about mental health, but some of the most beautiful, talented, incredible, like, soulful people that I know
are a hot mess.
But no, I mean it in, like, there's so much, like, when I sit down and talk with you, I would never describe you in the way that you describe yourself. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that you do.
Manic, bald, and slightly overweight.
But who you are is like, fucking, dude, hold on. This dude got ran over by a fucking semi-truck on a moped.
Oh no, it was a car. It was a car. Technically it was a Dodge. I didn't follow the instructions that were on the grill, so basically I got hit. That's how all of it happened. And so it all got started was I got hit by a car.
Settlement.
And there was no settlement. Trust me. No, that's a whole.
So you just had a ton of free time to get this all set up.
I wasn't walking for a year. I was stuck on a couch, and that's how I discovered that I was actually decent at griffball and met my friends. And it just was one thing after another. That's how we got invited to go to join this league because we met a pro, and the pro was just destroyed the shit out of us. We're like, "You're awesome!" He's like, "You guys don't exactly suck. If you thought about signing up for the griffball leagues, what are those?"
Yeah.
And that's how it all got started. And my friend Kelly, Goose Checka, she asked when she heard because that when our first season we signed up, me and my buddies who live in Tri-Cities, they were my first like real Xbox friends, and we laughed and giggled so fucking much. We don't remember if we lost a lot that night. We just know that we had so much fun. We didn't care.
Yeah.
We didn't care. So when we got into this first time lobby, that we're having a little powwow mixer thing of all these different teams playing, and it was preseason. They were getting to meet the new teams, and so we got asked to join this Xbox Live party. And Goose Checka says, "So okay, I welcome. We love the fact that you've all got because we all have the same icons. We all have hats on our characters, right?"
Yeah.
And Cal was like, "I love the fact they're all wearing hats." And Goose says, "And what's your team name?" And they're like, "Do it, DJ, do it." I said, "We're the NSAA. We're never serious about anything except Griffball."
Oh
And
man.
he's like, "Oh my God, why aren't you streaming with us?" Like, oh my God, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
Just,
what?
You what? Streaming. Uh-huh. I heard what you said. It still doesn't make any more or less
Talking about
sense.
streaming music. What's going on?
And
here?
she's like, and she says, Twitch. We're on Twitch. Have you been to Twitch? Nope, never heard of it. Went on, discovered, hey, that's my voice. That's different. And that's how it started. I ended up getting asked if I wanted to join and try shoutcasting some games. And even though I was just learning it and enjoying competing, and it happened. And sure enough, one thing led to another. And I ended up getting invited up to 343. And I was at my very first year, I ended up at RTX shoutcasting, and we ended up on the main stage at the Rooster Teeth Gaming Con. And there's an entire room full of people. We've got like 25,000 people watching on stream. And I'm standing on the stage with the microphone shoutcasting Griffball. It was absurd. And
That's
it was
crazy.
at that event that I met these guys from a company called Games PGE, and they make all this portable gaming equipment. And they, I ended up, I talked to them because I really thought it was really cool. This little portable gaming thing with a built-in screen. You put your Xbox in it, you tie it down, you're good to go.
Is that where you got that sick little Xbox thing you took on the train?
Oh,
It was like a booth place?
It looked, but no, that game, it was a booth. But the thing is that I got asked then to go to PAX. And I went to PAX, up in PAX, the Pan Credit Exchange, which is this giant gaming expo that happens in Seattle. It's like the biggest PAX there is. And we went up there that summer, and there was like 4 or 5 of us in a hotel room. It was hilarious. So we go up there, and I see these guys again. So on the first Friday, all of our friends who were really tight with 343, they went to a private thing. And so my friend Pro Ace Joker and I were just kind of wandering through the con, bragging about, like, talking each other up to other booths, right? Trying to be like, okay, can we meet people? What can we do? How do we feel cool watching all these people walk around with cameras and film crews as they're going through, because it's all being broadcast live on multiple different services. And we walk around, was like, hey, I remember you guys. And then they were like, hi, how are you? Great. Super cool to see you again. What's this? They said, well, this is our streaming setup. We're looking to connect with streamers and gamers. What do you have any plans for this weekend? I said, well, interestingly enough, my friend Joker right over there, he's the world at the time. He was like one of the world championship one of the world championship title holders for speedrunning in Halo 4.
What?
Oh yeah, he could run the entire Halo 4 campaign in 90 minutes.
That's fucking
ridiculous.
It's
insane.
fucking absurd. And the shit and the tricks that these speedrunners, and there are like, there's a ton of speedrunners, and now I think that record's even broken. There's a ton of different things, and in different levels and different stuff. And so I said, well, I've got the world record holding speedrunner here. And I'll be happy to shoutcast it. And if we could do a slot. And he said, sure. Why don't you come by tomorrow morning? We'll have you at open. Well, I said, well, you'll have to come get us, because we're just basic general admission boys. And he said, all right, we'll come down and get you. And we did it in the amount they had to have security, like the people had to come and move the crowd away from us, because it was everybody, like, there's pictures of it. There's just crowds behind us as we're doing this, and you can hear us over the speakers, and you can hear us on the stream. It was neat. They said, come back tomorrow. Can you do a whole 2-hour slot and do the whole, because we only did an hour, right? He was playing his favorite missions and showing just jump tricks and things like that, how to break out of the map to get across it was wild.
What?
So I said, oh yeah, no, like there's spots in Halo 2, like it was so much fun. So we get to the next day. This is now what, Sunday? Yeah. We're there, full 2-hour slot. He runs the entire thing in it was like 98 minutes. Runs it like Halo 4, 98 minutes.
Hold on. Does he die at all during this?
Oh, not much. Like
Okay.
there are different ways to run it. You can run it with no deaths. You can run it with deaths. There's like whole
But
different
just
ways to do
getting
this.
through it for speed.
Oh yeah, but they know the tricks. They know how to trick it so they can break through maps and not like so that it doesn't trigger enemy spawns. And then you just got open map. You just run through, touch the things, do the stuff, get through, get on the ship, get out, you're done. Boop. And I'm over here struggle busing when I'm playing it, like, oh my god,
fighting 1,000 enemies in a time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do this, and then we're like, yeah, that's incredible. Would you like to go to TwitchCon? It was the very first TwitchCon, and I said I would love to, but I literally spent my last dollar that I had to get here. So as much as I would love to, maybe next year. They said, that's no, you misunderstand. We'd like to hire you to be our on-floor stream host for our booth at the very first TwitchCon.
Hell yeah.
That's dope as fuck.
And that's how I got my first sponsor. And that's how and they paid me to go down there. They gave me this beautiful custom designed game box. I still have, it is my most precious. It's beautiful. It's a design that I made in our design class at school.
What?
So yeah, the blue and the yellow Spartans like going at each other. Yeah. That's what's on the, that's where that cover sticker came from. And they customized this thing for me. It's got my name on there and everything. It was wild. So
yeah,
that is what started everything. And it just kind of progressed into this mania that I currently exist in. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I don't say mania badly. I just think I love what I do. It is a wonderful thing. We do a lot of good for the world. In fact, like just this last weekend, we raised $1,000 US in a day for Ukraine.
Hell
And
yeah.
that's the equivalent of about $30,000 in Ukrainian money.
What?
Damn.
Economies are very different, and especially with going on with the conflict that's going on there, it is they're in so much need right now, especially those people who are displaced out of their homes. So I have a wonderful community. We're called the Respawn All Stars, and because I'm really good at respawning. I'm totally okay dying in games. I enjoy finding new and inventive ways of accidentally dying in a game, simply because if you're so focused on winning, oftentimes I find that gamers will forget that the whole reason you started playing video games to begin with was to have fun.
Mm.
And I've been around gaming for a minute. I'm a little older than normal, so that's what we used to do. We used to play Mario and Mario Kart and compete to see, okay, who's gonna die next and see how farther they can get. And you play together to get before the co-op and multiplayer crap was going on. And then it just kind of expands. And so the whole point of the Respawn All Stars is if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Mm.
And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it in the first fucking place? Come on.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. Enjoy what you do. I love streaming. I love content creation. I love finding new and different ways to create new experiences for people. And that's my jam. And I get to play music and I get paid to play music. And it's jazzed. I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Dude, hold on. Not only do I have to just tell you that you are one of the most articulate people I've ever met, because damn, you can hold the floor. But B,
I talk a lot.
weren't you almost the voice of fucking what's his name? Optimus Prime?
I was thinking that too. I was like, that's really close to Optimus Prime.
I did a test for a beta once. It was for a little project that was being done by some indies, and yeah, so I did this thing as Optimus Prime, and that's kind of when I started figuring out, oh, voice work could be a thing. So yeah, Autobots roll out.
Dude,
that's dope as fuck.
It just kind of escalated, and I ended up actually doing a bunch of voices for an indie game called Insula, that I worked for about a year and a half. And I did like 5 different characters. In fact, I did all of the voice work you hear in any of the trailers. It's all me.
You showed me one of them.
multiple different accents, multiple different pitches. Yeah. So I went from being just their community manager to being their creative producer, and yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when but that's also how I discovered my love for writing. I forgot how much I love to write, and in the process of this, of course, they're like, here's the character, this is what we want to do for we want to do something. So I'd come up with this design for a trailer. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then I would meet up with little Ethan, and little E who's this brilliant kid learning everything about Unreal Engine 4 at the time, and now 5. And he would come up with all these cool things that he would do. And so I'd say, all right, here's what I want to do. Here's how I want to space it. Here's how I want the flow to be. And he would make everything happen. And I'm recording the voices, and he's throwing them in, and then I would help him EQ it, because he didn't really understand what we do for EQing and for how we balance and produce things. So I would help him with that, and then we put this thing out, we throw it out there, and all of a sudden it's just banging. Like, holy crap, that's rad. So since then I've had a couple other roles that I've done that for upcoming hopefully getting released. It's funny how many times you'll do voice work and I'll get paid for it, and the game never comes out. It just disappears.
Dude, it's almost like video work.
Oh yeah.
You know how many fucking things I've funded where it's like, dude, if I could show my reel of like stuff that I've done in terms of like producer role and stuff, bro, I've made some shit happen that it just didn't happen.
Dude, I've edited probably an accumulated like 20 videos that have been edited and produced, and then they never came out.
Yep. And it's interesting when you look at licensing, when you look at the the purchase rights, project direction, and sometimes it's just shit just doesn't happen, especially in game development. I think that was one of the best things that I got to experience, not only kind of seeing behind the scenes with things at Halo, but also seeing things behind the scenes, and with especially, I would say, what I was shown at Halo when I was working on the projects with them, was different. I got to see a side of it, because of course you meet the employees and they become your friends, and you realize there's so much more involved than just, hey, push a button, flip a switch, now this shit works. That's not even remotely close to how it goes. So with Insula, I got to actually see from the programming end of it, all the back end work that goes into this. And it's interesting to see. It's interesting how my perspective changed, and also what I got to learn and experience, while also discovering what I was seeing coming out from other developers, communications, things like, when CD Projekt Red had all those problems with Cyberpunk 2077, knowing what I know about development now, there's a lot that goes on the back end. Does it mean that it's the right way for the industry to run? I don't know. That's not for me to say. But I will say I have a lot of respect and patience for developers, for the most part, when they are doing everything they can. And I think there's I like what I know, because I get to see things and I can tell what's happening if something isn't working right. It's also easier to be able to explain and, as you mentioned, and articulate specifically what that experience is.
You're the Joe Rogan of fucking video games to me. Like, that's the best way I can.
I don't know if that's a great description, but sure. It's just because our hairlines. There we go. I'll take the Howie Mandel. There we go. But yeah, sure. That's the fun part, is learning. The minute you stop learning, you stop growing as a person. And if you're not willing to keep evolving what you know and expanding what you know, you're going to stop. People are always like, and like, I got, I've been asked, what are you gonna do when you retire? Who's retiring? Let's be fair. What would I do? Stream, play video games, travel.
Yeah, pretty much get paid to do all that.
That's what I do now.
You're set.
Now,
you're retired.
And I'm making ends meet to an extent. And and it's always different. That's the one flip of having a full-time job is unlike a steady paycheck. Now it is all about I hate to quote him, but it's all about moves and counter moves. Marketing balanced uh with performative opportunities, making sure that you are consistently trying to evolve your product, evolve your projects, and then include new markets and new communities so that you're cross-pollinating in a multitude of different directions to ensure that you've got that fresh audience take, you've got that fresh audience involvement, you've got new people that you may be inspiring, whether to create new and different content, to play new and different games, companies to give you or provide you with an element to help promote their item, to promote their projects, promote their games. And in the process, you promoting their game is also creating a new viewer base for you because their fan base is now being, being introduced to your community, to your content, to the way that you approach gaming, the way that you approach entertainment. And in doing all of these things, it's a constant evolution.
Dude, you know what's so interesting about you saying that is like with our podcast, we just recently got something that we're putting together for all the guests that come on, and it is dope. That's all I can tell you. It's a marketing strategy that's going to be dope as fuck. But just finding something that's like one of those small, simple joys in your life.
Barbecue.
Like I get the purity. So
it's a simple joy.
yeah, I get the purity of it, like with this podcast, it's like these people that I'm having on are really like people that I consider my friends, like, and it's really cool because I'm starting to mix in like new people that I just click with pretty naturally and people that have been there. Like I was walking in the house tonight and I was thinking about it because I was so stoked like that you were going to be on. I was like, bro, you've almost known me for like the better part of a decade.
Yeah, no, we're
You
getting
look
there.
at me like a youngster, but it's like, bro, you've almost known me for like a decade.
Yep. You knew me since when I was still trying to have hair.
That's bananas, bro. And it's so cool though, because it's like you start to realize like, especially after COVID, a lot of who people really are underneath kind of just started bubbling to the surface.
Yep.
And some people it was more like maybe they needed to like go inside and like reassess some shit. I know that that's a constant thing that's never ending.
Yeah.
But in terms of like people that are constantly going and moving all the time, like, cause I never stopped when COVID, hit. I sold weed through like the whole pandemic. So we were considered essential. So it was just like another,
it was,
Yeah, probably.
It really was. And in Oregon, because it's of course legal here. No, absolutely required.
Yeah, and so it was just weird for me because like I would see how some of the people that I really loved like would go through some like inner mental health like spiritual kind of shit, that they would be like assessing their life because they finally had a pause to look at it. Then I would see other people where it was like, oh, they're actually like they're blossoming, like they decided to like, no, that's not what I'm doing. I didn't need that job anyways, now that I can't work there. Like, and with the little money that they got, started doing stuff in a whole nother direction.
Yeah.
And
it's an interesting caveat.
Yeah. It's definitely a trip. Real quick, before we go on, I have to say, not only have you made Zack giggle more times, Zack has laughed more times in this podcast than any other podcast. So you have the unspoken vote of Zack on coolest guest thus far.
Awesome.
Tate Morgan definitely gave you a run for your money, though. I gotta say, Tate was making me laugh like a motherfucker on the laughter side, but I don't think he cracked Zack near as many times. You've got him already.
Well, he doesn't have Ninja.
Oh yeah, dude. Straight up.
What the fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Yeah, that clip is so great, dude. That is such a funny fucking clip, man.
Oh, you have no idea how many times that gets used and gets brought into conversations in gaming shows or on stream, just because you'll hear things that are said. Like we've been playing a lot of Dying Light 2 Stay Human lately, and there's this one shot, and there's a clip of it because I got messaged on Discord, and so I've got like 4 screens, and it's a very large production setup. And I'm over here messaging, and I'm listening to the story of that's happening, right? And I've got these 2 guys talking in front of me, and he says, "Dude, oh God, what was the line? The line went something to the effect of, I'm going to say the R word, but oh yeah, they don't care. They're ridiculous. They're absurd. Just because I'm a man doesn't mean they won't me." I went, and I turned around and I said, "What the fuck did he just say?
The fuck you say to me, you little
Oh my God. What do you mean? Damn it."
Oh, fuck.
Hold on. Well, that just brings talking about outrageous shit, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking the chickens. Where are the chickens? And what was up with those?
I mean, well, let me show you what DreamHack sent me for my birthday.
Yeah, give me the story behind the chickens, bro.
Bro.
So when we were on Mixer, when I met my streaming partner at Comedy Crew, when I got asked to come on board for Comedy Crew, and we kind of took lead on that whole creation and design. One of the questions that he asked when we first met was, "What's your favorite meme?" And I said, "It's the Adam Savage with the gray chickens, where he squeezes one and then he leans in on this bin of them, and he's like, so he goes, oh, oh,
Yeah.
right?" Well, that became a thing, and I giggled because I thought it would be really funny to do that and recreate that. So I picked up this yellow chicken, right? And like I got a couple, and they became this thing. We named him Fred, which is kind of a nickname for friends in Australian. So we named him Fred, and
Wait,
Fred,
what?
Yeah.
What about Fred in Australia? So they call each other Fred?
Well, it was their nickname for friend is Fred. So, what's up, Fred? What's up, Fred? So Fred became our chicken, like that was from our group of people. And so, I had Fred invite, we had our Twitter account for our group. And so I was traveling a bunch. And so whenever I was going, I would always do things like ask if before we, as we were loading on the plane, like, "Hey, can I go in early and have the pilots take a picture with Fred in the cockpit?" Literally, because it's a cockpit. And it's a rubber chicken. So so we'd get pictures of him sitting in chairs and in first class, or with a straw in his mouth, or just weird little things. And if nobody, it was just initially a haha, this is cute, and I took it and ran with it in a completely unexpected direction, and it became this massive thing where everywhere that I went, I couldn't go for an event without at least one person, sometimes many people, bringing me rubber chickens as a gift, as a, "Hey, we're fans, here you go." And so I always had my rubber chicken, at least one rubber chicken with me at all times. And it was a thing. And I'd take pictures of booths with zombies from Resident Evil, and for all these different things that we would do. And there was always a rubber chicken with me when I was on broadcast, always a rubber chicken with me when I was shoutcasting. It was one of the ways I distracted people at Fortnite when we did the Hype Zone live event. And I would go up to the competitors and be like, "Squeak, squeak," while they're playing, just to fuck with them. And some of them liked it. Some of them were very much not appreciative. So
Bro,
yeah.
I know.
But so the chickens became a thing.
Okay.
And then when I went down to Australia, I took an entire suitcase half full of chickens with me, and I got into customs, and so I'm at customs in, where was I landing? I landed in Brisbane, and I get out of I get to customs, and then and he says, "What you got in the bag, mate?" I said, do you have anything that you need to declare?" I said, "I've got rum in this one as a gift for friends. It's within the limit, so it's packaged and sealed and everything." It's like, "All right, what's in this one?" "Clothes and chickens." "Sorry, what?" "Clothes and rubber chickens." "What don't you go ahead and throw that up there? Open it up for me. So I throw it up there and open it up. And of course, there's this, it's half a suitcase packed, stacked, ass to elbows of rubber chickens because I was going to give them to all of our community members in Australia and hand them out, right? He says, do they squeak? Yeah. Can I squeak them? Yeah. Squeak is when I was like, nah, I said, you got to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to go all the way. All right, you do it. And I went, and I let go, and it's just this, and everyone in customs stops moving immediately. All the security turns around and looks, and the supervisor comes out, and he says, it can go. Ramp it up, ramp it up, zip it up. You out? You good? Cheers.
That's great.
Enjoy. and that became the thing, and that it became a theme that was an unexpected development of just me being awkward, and the rubber chicken thing just kind of happened, and it became our brand on Mixer. And then when I came back and it's still a thing. Like I used to have rubber chickens all over my DJ equipment on my old set. Now I've got my new setup because Delta destroyed my old setup. And also Delta Airlines. So yeah, now I've got there's at any one given time there's probably 20 or 20, maybe 30 rubber chickens in this house right now. Most of which were gifts. And if somebody gives me one, then I keep that one. And so every one that I've gotten, I would say I have a total of 35 still with me. Some of them were with other community members, and so I've always got them near me. And then of course we get people just resupply the ones that we give away, the big yellow ones like this, like. There's these guys who are similar but different. Oh my God, what happened?
There I was gonna say, what? See, these chickens cause fucking chaos.
They do.
They're possessed.
They're chickens, man.
Everywhere they go.
Yeah, and then there's the minis. I've got a bunch of minis. Like, it's just a thing, man. And so the rubber chickens became a major thing. Stop. Damn it. So I may have accidentally dropped my camera.
Oh man.
Just now?
No. This was I did it the other weekend. My tripod fell over. I caught a cord on my tripod and it fell down, and so it tore through the cord. So now I have to get a new camera, which I believe Logitech is sending me one right now, so it should be here soon.
Hey,
now I have to like rubber band this shit down to keep the cord in the right spot, so that it doesn't do what you just saw. It's not like sketching out and something like. So yeah,
dude.
Shout out to Logitech.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's some of the coolest shit that you've got from your sponsors?
Well, God, I have a few different pairs of Astro A40s. I've got they have been the sponsors take very good care of me. And they make some really incredible products. Astounding products. You want to talk about top of the line MLG level gear for gaming? The Astro's top marks. The Astro A40 TR system with the Mixamp Pro. Now I'm going to try to sound like an advertisement. Mixamp Pros are what is used for Halo, for Call of Duty League. It's because you can daisy chain them together and you get real-time audio, no delay. It's not like you're having to go through Xbox Live or manage to connect through Discord. You simply plug the proprietary daisy chain cord across them, and you're hearing each other through your mics with each other, and it's all in real time. So, which is great stuff. I mean, it's really great stuff. And Logitech, of course, Logitech G is hands down, in my opinion, top of the line for mouse and keyboard and for PC peripherals. So they are all I use for keyboard and mice. Cameras, I use the Brios for cameras. And Blue Mics do all my sound. My XLR mic right here.
Hey.
Yep, that's my jam right there. It gets to get real deep and clear. So yeah,
dude, Astros are amazing. They're hanging on my wall, but I have optic Astros, and I had them for like I used them for like 10 years until they stopped working. But they're hanging
Bro.
up with my jerseys and shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that shit is worth something to your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you hang it on the wall.
Yeah, I want to get them framed.
Well, and I've got well, and with the A40s, you get where's my well, because I've got these were the Astro Meta when Astro and Meta Threads before Meta Threads got changed to .exe because Facebook decided to try and take the name Meta and paid them an exorbitantly ridiculous amount of money for it. Apparently, like you get partner items like this where you've got your own custom items, and then of course, and I collect these like crazy. Like this is the 5th anniversary HCS World Championship Series markers. We've got the old mixer items. So like from when we were broadcasting and shoutcasting there at PAX and things like that. And you get custom art ones from companies like 343. So like this is the Halo Wars 2 collector's editions that I keep here just because it's a beautiful, beautiful setup.
That is tight.
Yeah, that's dope.
Bro,
but they're I love their products. I work with AverMedia, who does all my streaming gear. Advanced GG, who does all the energy drink stuff that I drip whenever I need to go.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. So I'm just still blown away because like I remember being little and playing Halo like 4v4 and like Blood Gulch and like just having a freaking ball. Like that
either split screen or then when you could actually like daisy chain your shit together and then everybody's bringing their TV to the house and you've got your little in-home LAN forever. We used to do that on the 360s forever.
Halo 3 was my first shooter.
Halo was?
Halo 3, yeah. That was my first like shooter, or it was my first like online game, like Xbox Live game.
You know, Halo kind of set a bar that it has been difficult to match. I mean, Infinite's a different story, but it is they've been a trendsetter since the beginning.
It's cool to see competitive has come back to Halo 2.
Oh
like, the whole competitive scene.
I was actually at Raleigh. I was at Raleigh, North Carolina, the first one back. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. I had some incredible shots. I got to go see, and I ran into some old friends there. So it was really cool.
Do you think that Halo, like as a franchise, is gonna continually be like a front runner, or what do you think like where the future of video games is going right now? Because like, and I know this is kind of a big question, so answer to the best of your ability. And Zach, feel free to pitch in, like if you think something is hot, because I've been out of the loop for a while.
I've got an opinion on it.
I'm gonna say this. Halo Infinite at its core has an incredible structure and an incredible baseline. It's solid in its design. In my opinion, there has been an excessive. Well, the campaign was again, they told a story in a new way with a new design and a new structure, and were able to captivate the audience in a new way that they hadn't really done before. It had been loosely done in ODST when you are going through you've got the kind of open map. You can run through the whole city if you want. You can run through all of that and not do any of the storyline pieces if you just want to speed through it and play around. It was a city-based version of a little bit of an open world, kind of a taster. And that wasn't 343 who did that. That was obviously Bungie. 4 and 5 were again different ways of telling a story. Infinite's multiplayer, in my opinion, has some considerable hurdles that they need to address, and some considerable issues that need to be managed. And I'll be honest, I tried playing over the weekend during the charity stream, and the game crashed in 2 different ranked games, one after the other. I got banned because their game crashed. Granted, it was like a 10-minute ban. That's not the point. Your game isn't stable, fix it. The game hasn't been stable. Apparently, there's been a fix. I'm not trying it. I haven't played it in a while because it stopped becoming fun. There is arena level options and arena based options that are structured towards, I would say they're built around the construct of HCS, which, don't get me wrong, if there's any esport that I'm going to go to, that I'm going to watch, that I'm going to throw my weight behind, it'll always be HCS. I love competitive Halo. Hands down, freaking love it. But as a casual player, somebody who loves to get together with his friends, loves to get together with my people and play everything from Griffball to Action Sack, come up with their own custom games, we don't have anything to do. I can't even get into a co-op's not even out for campaign. I get that it's that things are taking longer. I get it. It's a new thing. They've never done a live service game like this before. I get that.
So what's a live service game? Because I can't say that I'm in the loop on that.
So this game is going to be Infinite is what is scheduled to be the next 10 years of Halo.
What?
So yeah, and so they're going to be continue to add everything from DLCs to story to campaign to game modes to events, and it's in a live service environment. Kind of think about like how Fortnite is
or CS:GO.
Okay? Or CS:GO, where you just
Fortnite.
keep upgrading and adding to the product and into the elements. I think that's the best way for me to describe it from my understanding. But in that sense, there's been a lot of observations that like 90%, like from what people have said, 90% of the population has like disappeared from Halo Infinite since its launch. Well, there's only so many competitive players out there. There are only so many people interested in going in just sweating balls in a game. Some of us don't want to just go hard and heavy. We'd like to just get in, have some fun, goof around, maybe make some customs, maybe enjoy things. So for right now, for casuals like me, there's not anything for me to do in the game aside from go back and play the campaign by myself again. And you can only play the campaign through in sequential, or you can't go back and repeat missions. Once it's done, it's done. You have to start a brand new game and start back from the beginning.
That doesn't make sense. Why would they do that?
It is honestly, I'm not going to speak for 343. I don't work there. So I'm sure that there, from a development standpoint, I'm sure there are reasons as to why you want to make sure that there's that linear element. Will that change the future? Don't know. Depends on the demand, depends on the capabilities, depends on how the game is designed, and depends on what it would take in order to fix that. But without Forge, which is the custom craft design ability of the game, Forge has been part of your ability to make maps and make games. Without that there,
Wait, they don't have
it
Forge?
it has alienated the ability for, like, the Griffball community is basically dying because there's no modern version of Griffball. We're still stuck on MCC. We don't have Halo 5 on PC. So you're either an Xbox player for Halo 5 or you're stuck in Halo 4, which came out how long ago?
Hot minute.
Like, Halo 4 came out before I got hit by the car.
What the fuck?
So I want to be real clear. Like, and this is not in any way, shape, or form a slam or a slight, but I don't feel as a casual player represented adequately enough, or at least to have been given enough options to have something to play that is going to continue keeping me involved. And so I've moved on to other games. And it's not to say that that's not a slam or a diss on 343 or their process. I think they're learning how to do this for the first time, and they're working through all the processes. They're playing exactly what we did before with Outpost, if this then that, and they're discovering that there are branches of things that just aren't working. So now they're recalculating, they're recalibrating, and I get that. That is all part of the game. I think there's a difficulty when there is a significantly toxic and hostile presence online and on social media that is so fervently verbal about their irritation with the state of the game and their clear lack of understanding about how game development works only adds to that imbalance between the feedback, to a point where there's such a toxic minority that the rest of us are just like, and I'm not commenting on it. I'm not talking about it. I'm probably going to get shit online for this in the first place, and I don't care. I don't care if they want to come at me.
I
Whatever.
think you gave one of the best, most honest and fair analysis. Analysis. I don't know what to say.
Analyses.
That you can, that you can fucking give on that. Appraisal wise, because it's like you're acknowledging both sides, and it's like at a certain point, developers are probably like, fuck their feedback. They don't even know what's going on. And then on the other side, they're like, fuck them. They don't know what's going on. They're making this crapshoot game out of something that I fucking loved.
And that's the thing. Like you want to and you get this feedback of people who are for example, Super Halo 3 fans. I get that. It was a huge element, and it still is. But you have to evolve with the game. The game has to evolve from itself. You can't go backwards. You can't make a new game that's based on something was developed over a decade ago. You have to evolve the game. You've got to continue to add to reinvent, and to create in a new and organic way that allows the creative team to achieve the vision for the game that they designed. It's their game. I get that they're making it for the players in the community, but it is at the end of the day their game. And if that's the direction that they want to go, I 1000% support that. I will stand behind them. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to like it. But these are my friends, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna stand by it a lot. And the toxicity and the entitlement from a lot of those on social media has been it's been appalling and also sad to see, because it takes away from and scares the rest of us away from having a conversation, because you can have a conversation with somebody who's just so angry, mostly out of sheer ignorance. They don't understand what they're talking about. And so you can't have a conversation with somebody who's unwilling to learn what the process is or why it's involved. Like if X person, if your opinion was so fucking important, they would have asked you to work on the fucking game. Yeah. Notice that they aren't knocking at your door. Shut the fuck up.
So Zach, real quick, has this come across your plate? Because I know that you game way more than me, and then I also have some other questions to ask.
I mean, the biggest one for me was Call of Duty took this weird turn for 4 years where they did jetpack COD, right? And I personally loved the jetpacking and all the boosting and stuff, because those were the best 4 years of my life in Call of Duty. I was the best I'd ever been. And then they completely reverted everything that they had done, given although it's multiple different companies making a different Call of Duty every year. So it's they went back to boots on the ground and World War II time era, which has already been done over and over and over. So COD got super stale and super boring, and I fell off of watching it completely. So it's it took a really weird turn from the developers and stuff like that. And then
in Call of Duty, and Battlefield, I'll throw just my opinion on that one real fast. Just without a campaign, you are stuck with. You're basically stuck in a situation where, as a casual gamer, you are forced into only playing in a live environment that is only. There's no learning curve. You're either walking in and you're getting shit on and shot in the face from spawn, and you can't, you're trying to figure out what weapon do I want to unlock, which through XP and your build outs, what do I want for my attachments? How's this going to work out? How's this going to feel? When you have a campaign, most of the and let's be fair, most of those campaigns for Battlefield and Call of Duty were designed not only to tell a story, but also as a training module. Because you got to use your specific reasons, you got to use every single different weapon in the game, experience them. You got to pick up different weapons that were dropped by different enemies that had different attachments on them, so you could figure out which one you liked. You could pick up universal ammo for those weapons in that class, but you got a chance to experience it, really test it out, play it out, figure out, am I more of a long range, or am I more of an upfront CQ, close quarter battle? Am I a CQB or am I backup? Do I want to stick in the background, find good cover, and snipe across the map as much as I can until I run out of fucking ammunition and pray to God nobody sees where I'm coming from? So, but if you don't have a storyline to immerse your player base, if you don't have that ability for those people who learn at a different rate than other people. It's not because, hey, you suck as a gamer and your ass, and
Why? You're the one who got knocked.
it's instead, you're given the chance to go and experience it in your own way, at your own time, at your own pace. It allows for a wider range of gamers to become a larger part of an ecosystem that you want to thrive. So, shit, what was the first game that Respawn made?
Well, hold on.
Apex Legends.
You just fucking blew my mind with that, because I never once looked at it from like a developer standpoint, to even recognize that I was like being programmed into like understanding the game.
Battlefield Bad Company, and Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's literally exactly where my brain went, was to Bad Company.
Bad Company 1 was first of all one of the best storytelling features ever. Super hilarious. Cool. Hilarious. But you got trained on everything that you needed to learn, and Battlefield Bad Company 1 didn't have a multiplayer. It was a campaign. Battlefield Bad Company 2 came out, right? Battlefield Bad Company 2 came out, and it had this brilliant, one of the best multiplayers I had ever played at the time. It was gorgeous. And all the things that you got to fly and use in the first game, helicopters and shit like that, were all in Battlefield Bad Company 2. The multiplayer side. It was fucking rad. It was so cool. I loved it, but I also loved being able to go in and get used to the weapons, get used to the aiming, get used to the balance and the pacing in the campaign, and then flip over and just go ham in the multiplayer. I loved that multiplayer, but that's also why when I went and started playing Halo, that I always use fish sticks as my control. I used fish sticks as my controller layout, because I was so used to playing COD at that point and fish sticks is Call of Duty COD fish, so they call it fish sticks. It's the same layout, but yeah. Anyways, that's I know. and now I can smell chicken pot pie upstairs. I'm so excited because I'm hungry. But when you look at that design structure and the things like that, it makes sense. And I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed when I started falling out from Call of Duty and Battlefield was y'all aren't throwing down a campaign that's reasonable or exciting. You're just throwing these multiplayers out and you're pounding these things out. You're basically wash, rinse, and repeat with it and reskinning the game and throwing maybe one or two new things in there, and then you're done. And it's a
slap in the face as a fucking gamer.
It's disingenuous. It's not you. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel well thought out, and it almost feels like, hey, congratulations, your microtransactions, the $60 I paid for this. Neat. Okay,
I was just about to say that. It's like transaction centric. It's like that's what the focus is now. Skins.
And it's unfortunate because they saw Fortnite get away with it. And Fortnite did something unique and dynamic that changed, sadly, altered the entire face of game development worldwide. And it's unfortunate. Not that they didn't do a great job. Don't get me wrong. Fortnite is the best at what they do. Epic has nailed it when it comes to that game. You look at what and then you look at how they advance that with, say, Apex Legends.
Yeah.
And Respawn just, and they're so quick to adjust as many things as they can as quickly as they can. And I have friends who work there. So, and Apex is a wonderful game, but copying these two because they have a functional revenue stream that is just dumping absurd amounts of cash into the flow doesn't mean that everybody else needs to do it. It is not the necessary environment that everybody else wants to be involved in.
Yeah. And question. So, when I was younger, sticking on kind of Battlefield, right? I remember watching Battlefield 2 and watching that be played on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
That is, to this day, one of the most immaculately, like, realistic and fun, like, fucking video games ever created. And it was server based. And so I've been so curious, like, why hasn't, with all the like ingenuity that's available and with all the creativity that they can give to actual like fans in order to like mod shit out, why aren't things offered in a server based platform where you can actually create your own lobby you know, and be like, no, this is this version of this game.
Oh, well, I mean, honestly, that's a good question. I don't know. I would think from a dev standpoint on the back end that you have to create a separate instance of that specific version, which may be on a completely different engine. You have to consider that also based on that engine, you have to consider where the server is pulling the data from. So you can't just run it through an internet connection on a router. You have to have a server that's got that's programmed for that specific game. So, you know, it's like you can't run Halo 3 off of a Halo 2 server. It's two different games. So
are you saying like if someone made a game, they could make it with the same components, right, from the same engine, but it can be so complex that it creates a radically different bandwidth that's necessary in order to run it?
Well, you've also got different frameworks. You got to consider how you've built out. Like it's all dependent upon, the coding on the back end. If you're talking about the network abilities, and I'm definitely getting outside of to the edges of the things that I understand. So you may get some feedback from developers, and I'm totally down with it. But there are so many different elements, and it is so complex once you stack and compile a game so that it functions and is able to interact, because especially if you're talking about PC gaming, whoo, shit, whole different world. You're talking about people with different processors, people with different graphics cards, people with different hard drive speeds, different network speeds. So you've got to consider what the universal balance is. That's why you have minimum and recommended specifications. Like I have a Ryzen system for my streaming PC that has AverMedia capture cards and an RTX 1070. My gaming PC is an i9 9900K and an RTX 2070.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but it sounds badass.
One has solid state, one has M.2s. So, but you've got like if you've got different people with different structures, and then of course when you want to talk about cross-platform, well, you want to be able to play if I want to be able to play with my friends, I think the key is developing and designing games around the opportunity to experience community. The biggest and best thing you can do is to not alienate people using different systems. And let me go back to Fortnite, or right now or Halo for that fact. You've got people on multiple different generations in Halo. You've got PC players, okay, like me, former Xbox only guy, and now I'm on PC. But you have two different generations and a separate different generation within it. So you've got people with the original Xbox One. You've got the 1S and the 1X people. And then you've got your Series S, Series X, current gen. And then you've got PC. In that PC, you've got multiple different design structures of peripherals, different processors, different graphics cards, different speeds of processing. At least when you're on console, right? You've got it's stock standard. You know what you've got in each one, how each one performs, but then you have to ensure that through the netcode, that the netcode allows everyone as equal an experience as possible, that is as balanced as possible. Fortnite is probably one of those that is astoundingly complex, because you can get people playing on Fortnite via mobile, PC, PlayStations, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or Pro editions. You've got Xbox One, 1S, 1X, Series S, Series X, Switch. You've got PC players. Now you've got cloud players.
Bro, what the fuck?
And the ability to process.
And they're all playing together, Kemper.
And they're all playing. And you were talking about a lobby of 100 fucking people all together.
What's a cloud?
And they've got to be able to keep the cloud. That's where they're playing via Wi-Fi. So
the
they've got
on their computer or their phone or whatever.
It's not an actual application. It's built into your hardware. It is simply an interface that your hardware connects via a wireless service signal, so that it's the actual instance is in a simulation in the cloud, and it's running the game completely independent of where you are currently. And you can do that on your phone and connect a controller and just be sitting here playing it, goofing off, and you don't actually have to have the whole instance of the game in there. So that's when I say that there's so many different elements that people don't consider about gaming, that when they're toxic online and on social media, it's the rest of us go, Yep, I'm not even getting involved in this conversation because this is, and of
Makes
course
no
the
sense.
response they get, the response that they give the developers, your game's ass, they can go suck my and like that tells us absolutely nothing about the negative experience that you may have had in our game. Can you tell us what went wrong? What possibly went wrong?
Constructive criticism.
Right.
Yeah.
And it needs to be articulate, it needs to be specific. They can't fix it when you say your movement is shit.
What about it?
That doesn't help a developer at all.
Like, hey, your movement's
your
clunky.
gun aiming is bullshit. I can't seem to land my shots.
I hate that I'm
Too
that
slow.
guy. I'm definitely
But you tell a developer that, they're going to look at that piece of feedback, go,
well, you're
yeah,
just bad at the game.
that tells me nothing. So I'm moving on to the first one that will make sense. That's spoken about in a literate,
like that fucking
and
8-year-old had a fucking
specific manner.
supercharger on his fucking phone, and I'm sitting here with a fucking laggy connection.
Get rid of the
Right.
corners. Everyone's camping in them or some bullshit
Yeah,
like
like,
that.
Right. Yeah.
I
Like,
haven't played video games since COD
Like,
4, legitimately.
I'm always lagging, Well, congratulations. Here's the thing. You're living in the attic and your parents have the router on the first floor, okay? And it's a 4-story house.
Doesn't help. You got 5 megabyte internet already.
Yeah, you also have bare bones internet, 3 sisters, all of them watching different seasons of Gilmore Girls. Congratulations. Your brother's downloading porn, and you're upstairs in the attic trying to competitively game through the Wi-Fi that the entire fucking family is using. Oh yeah, don't forget all the Wi-Fi TVs that are down the stairs, and everybody's watching a different show while playing Fortnite on their phone. And you're wondering, why the fuck can't I connect to Call of Duty? Well, for starters, have you tried an Ethernet cord?
Yeah.
Dude, see, that's what I'm saying.
And they don't know what that is. So they try and plug a phone cord into the Ethernet jack, and you're like, it doesn't fit, man. It's too small.
I'm the fucking
That's switching then.
I'm calling Zack, like, Zack, what the fuck? I'm trying to play. And he's like, you just need a PC, you fucking retard.
So
You have a good Xbox though.
So that's what I mean by it's frustrating watching it happen. And so to go back to your question about Halo, I think there's an incredible future here. I think once they get to a point where I think that they're still working on getting to a point where they're satisfied with the product that they're creating, and that they are going to be on top of that development cycle, that arc, that progressive arc. Once they've caught up to where they want to be, and they can start pushing forward, we'll see a change in the way that the community reacts dynamically. I'm excited for when Forge comes out. I'm excited for when co-op comes out, because then there's going to be reasons and things that I can do to play with my friends in an environment that I love. And honestly, fucking loved Infinite's campaign. Absolutely incredible. Wonderful. Wonderful experience for me. But
Yeah.
I had to do it alone. And I love playing it with my friends. So it's a thing. It's a thing. But yeah. Sorry, that was a long-winded again.
Nah,
Hey,
dude.
DJ, way to go, long-winded answer.
You should run and grab some food, and we'll take a little pause if you're okay with that.
Well, I will have to probably go here soon. But
Okay.
Dude,
Just
I
this-
remember
yeah.
in Halo 3 when I first got into Forge, and
Mm-hmm.
before this was like, because the first game that they implemented like the actual like ghost merging of items was
Yeah.
like, I think it was Reach or ODST, one of the two. And you had to like do this glitch to ghost merge items in Halo 3's Forge to make interesting rounded things. It was such a pain in the ass. That was
I
my
remember
favorite
4.
thing.
I think 4 was my favorite Forge.
Yeah.
Because Forge Island was incredible, and we did so much on there. But it was a massive environment. We did things
Yeah.
underwater when we did the Slenderman maps. There was a Slenderman map that was underwater, and the only way to get under the water, right? Because if you're Spartan, you cross the water line, you die.
Yeah.
Was you had to go in as in edit mode, drop a spawn down below the water,
Oh shit.
go flip to character mode, hit the water and die, respawn on that spawn under the water, and then go into edit mode. And then you could build all this shit out. And it was like this super foggy, murky, underwater bay because it's Forge Island. It's this giant ocean.
Yeah.
But the things you could do in that foggy nightmare world were astounding because we really didn't have any weather effects. It wasn't really like there wasn't a weather cycle going on in there that you could do. So we do it under the water and do some ridiculously dumb shit in there. And so when you spawn everybody underwater, then fine. It's not like you're going up. It's not like you can swim in the water. You've got full movement and you're going. You're just kind of hauling ass.
That's pretty awesome, dude. I couldn't even figure out Forge back in the day. I used to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Because I'm totally that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to disrespect the chicken pot pie you got going on. You smelled it for a good like 20 minutes or so. So thank you so much for being on here, DJ.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You are welcome anytime you want to promote anything. So you just stay in touch. Let me know. I'm going to have to come by pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. See the dogs. Yeah. Just wear a cup.
I'll try my best. Dude, I'm not joking. His Great Dane literally like punched me in the dick, like almost like a human, like probably like 8 times.
Yeah, he's got this thing where he just wants to put his paw on you and to play, and then he will always nail you, right? Like you have to be consciously aware and back up. Like I am forever dodge mechanic ready. Like, like
dude, yeah.
Awesome.
You got to be like on some Assassin's Creed shit in order to just have a conversation.
Oh yeah, all about that ninja moves, man. All about that ninja moves. So, well, thank you guys so much for having me. If do you mind if I promote the channel?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, you can find me Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at twitch.tv/DJ Blue PDX. You can find me on social media also at DJ Blue PDX. That's Twitter, Instagram, Hover, TikTok, and anything else you can pretty much think of.
Hell yeah. Follow my brother, support. We love you. Peace.
Later.